Recording now. So let me go through the agenda. Let me share the screen first. Cool. You all can see my screen, right? I think so.
Again.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so today I wanted to go a little bit, doing some cleanup or tasks review, so you can for those of you who want to collaborate on the project more actively and don't know where to start. So I thought that actually it was Łukasz' idea to dedicate some time on the meeting to maybe go through some tasks and you decide if you want to pick something, if you want to if you have some questions, and then after that we have an issue on the generator that I would like to discuss the possible solutions, and then some questions and answers as always. Okay, so let me reverse the order of the first 2 points. Let's go through the issue first, and then we go on the task reviews. So this one, I'm going to explain a little bit what's happening. As it says, installation of the generator. If you're not familiar with the generator package, this is to generate documentation and code, and actually anything you want to generate. And apparently, it doesn't work with the newest version of Node.js. So what's happening here is that the generator package has a dependency on the AsyncAPI parser. Okay, so here it is. And the AsyncAPI parser is a port or a wrapper, I will say, of the Go parser that we created. The Go parser is then exported or converted to a C shared library, and then used from Node.js. And apparently, something changed in the new APIs for Node.js that doesn't really know how to read or how to communicate with C++ or C shared objects, and it's broken. So you cannot use that. For this we're using a package called NodeFFI, and as Łukasz already investigated, looks like there's already an issue open, and also looks like the package itself, NodeFFI, is not really maintained. So we're risking too much here by choosing NodeFFI. So my question here, because everything is happening because we have the Go parser generating C++ code or C code, and then talking to this C code from Node.js. This is all fine. I mean, it's possible. We wanted to explore that way, but we're finding problems as we go, right? Especially with these new versions, that something doesn't work because the third package it's not updated or not maintained. So yeah, I was wondering what's the best solution for that, because we have many options here. We can go to the NodeFFI project and try to make it work with Node.js version 12, which I think it's a huge fork, especially from my perspective, because I have no idea on how it works. we can just put a message on the README saying, hey, no, we don't support the newest version of Node.js, which I don't think it's nice. It will be nice for now, but not enough, right? And wait for them to update it. There's another option that Łukasz and the Kima folks are exploring, that's generating from Go, generating WebAssembly code, so it can work on Node.js and it can work on the browser. That will probably solve the problem. But same thing, it's like a really new technology, and don't know if it's mature enough or what the state of it is. And the other option that I'm thinking lately is that creating a separate parser, so to have one for Go and the rest of technologies, and another one for browser, for JavaScript, browser and Node.js. So because arguably we have most of the times the target is going to be for documentation. I mean, it's going to be the browser, and it's going to be Node.js for this, all these little tools. We will be using most probably Node.js or browser, right? So it might deserve the effort to create and maintain the two, one for as I said, for JavaScript, and another one for the rest, basically. So my question here is, what do you think? Do you think we should go for? I have a clear opinion, but or more or less clear opinion, but I want to know what you think. If you have this problem, what will you do? So maybe Łukasz, because you've been looking into that before.
Yeah, so what I can add, first of all, the WebAssembly is not gonna solve the whole issue, because at the end you would like to use Node server side as well, probably. So WebAssembly only addresses the client-side apps and client-side rendering. And if it comes to my view here, I mean, I'm always in a position that you do what really is needed and demanded from the community. I always try to put my own, let's say, preferences and opinions as a second argument to the decision. So, for example, here it's clearly seen in the project Node FFI that it's really under-maintained. It's even fixed for Node 11. It was quite a headache for community to get a release of the fix. But then I would first ask question, I mean, how important it is for a package that it's always supporting the latest node? Because for me, knowing the experience I have with internally in my projects, we are usually way behind the latest releases. We're not always up to date. Even with some projects, we're still with Node 8. So we don't care that much with the latest. Then if I would take this factor into account, that we don't always care the most to have always the latest support, it means I could sacrifice and say, okay, let's wait for community. If they released fix for Node 11, we can wait a few months for release of the fix for Node 12. But that's that's my opinion basing on the experience. So, but if I would privately take into account only my decision, I would say, yeah, always be with the latest, support the latest. So it's a bottleneck.
Yeah. So my concern about the latest version is not so much about being in the edge. It's because latest versions always fix a number of security problems, right? Well, I might be wrong, but I think if there are some security problems detected in Node 11, they also release it on Node 10, if I'm not mistaken, and the long-term versions like 8, 10, 12, right? So I don't know. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that WebAssembly is not only for the browser. It will also work on Node.js. I've been briefly looking on how to do it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that will be for both. Like if we have a WebAssembly solution, it will work for both.
So, Fran?
Yeah.
My question would be, not knowing anything about the code, how complicated is that parser? This is parsing a JSON format, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that was my other thought. Like creating a parser in Node.js or in JavaScript will be very straightforward because everything we have to do is already done. It's already done by other libraries. We can reuse libraries that other people created. So not unlike Go, and like the one in Golang that we had to create a lot of code because of the lack of libraries for certain stuff. So actually the effort to create a separate one will be very minimum, really minimum, but my concern with having two is that we then have to maintain two, and people might expect that both are at the same level, right? Like in terms of features, right? So what it means to create a new parser is just parsing a JSON schema. It's parsing a JSON against a JSON schema, which is already done by other libraries. And then we will have to go through all the schema formats, like detecting if it's a JSON schema, if it's protobuf, Avro, and doing all these conversions. But again, we have libraries for all of this stuff in JavaScript, right? So that will be pretty straightforward, unlike in Go. We actually created the Go one because it's easy to transpile to other languages, right? Not transpile, but to generate the C# library, and then you can use the C# library in Java, in Python, or whatever you want to use it. And initially, there was also another feature set, which is the extension. These protocol info objects and extensions. We might implement a registry, and the parser will optionally connect to this registry. But I'm seeing that this is far from what we are now. It's not really to worry about this now. So yeah, that's to simplify my answer is actually validating a JSON object or transforming a YAML if it's YAML to JSON, and then validating it against the JSON schema that we already have, and then going for every schema, and it's Avro, protobuf, and checking and transforming from protobuf to JSON schema and all this stuff. But that it shouldn't take long. It's just my concern was more about maintenance, maintaining both at the same level, right? So yeah.
But the support, especially the Avro and protobuf, did you check? There's a large support for the parsers. Because I guess that's at the end the most, let's say, time consuming will be parsing of the payload if it's provided with protobuf, right? Format, not JSON schema. Or am I taking it wrong?
Yeah, but the idea is that if someone provides Avro or protobuf, let's say protobuf, which is the most different one, then you first parse that it's valid or validate, the protobuf definition. You convert it to JSON schema from protobuf to JSON schema, and then you inject the JSON schema. I will say replace, but it's not replace. It's you inject the JSON schema definition and keep the protobuf definition as an extension, so you don't lose it. But in the end, the result, the resulting document, JSON document or AsyncAPI document is going to be all JSON schema, independently if you use protobuf, Avro, or anything.
Yeah, but what I meant is that at the end you need a JavaScript written parser that will validate Avro and protobuf.
Yeah, but this is already...
Yeah, so that was my question. So are we sure that there's a pretty nice support in this area as well?
At least if I remember well, I think it was a protobuf and not Avro, or the other way around. There's at least one that I couldn't find, but I could find it in Java. So, and it's a very, and there are not so many lines of code, so it's easy. It's actually easy to transpile or to translate it to JavaScript. That will be easy, actually. But yeah, and people are asking for Avro, especially with Kafka, because many people are using Avro with Kafka. And protobuf is also widely used for people using gRPC APIs, and they want to reuse the models for messaging, right? So yeah. So the demand is big enough, so we cannot ignore it. Basically, we cannot just stick to JSON schema, even though we can stick to JSON schema in the beginning and then add these features slowly, right, over time. But yeah. So any concerns that you're seeing here? Oh, any other questions regarding this? No? Andrew, maybe you have some concerns now? Michael?
No, I'm just trying to catch up. I've been away for a bit, but I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I like, Fran, that you're thinking about the long term, and sorry I was joining a little bit late, that you're thinking about maintenance and things that make it easy for us down the road.
Yeah, it's always in my head. Like, I mean, the easy thing will be like, let's go just for JavaScript, right? And forget about the other languages, and then someone appears and say, hey, let's go for Java. Okay, so let's create another one in Java, and another one comes and say, hey, Python. so in the end, what happens is that you end up having to maintain a lot of versions of the same code in different languages. So, which is the parser, only the parser, not the generator in this case. So it's about these issues in the generator, but the problem is actually the parser. That it's on different, it's on Go transpile to C. Okay, cool. So I don't know if you have some thoughts after the meeting, just let me know. I think I'm gonna tell you my opinion. I think our best bet here in the long term, short and long term, is to go for the safest decision, which is to create a Node.js 1 separately, but to aim that at some point we can get rid of having two, to maintain two or more. So WebAssembly looks like a nice option that we should explore at the same time we're creating the Node.js version. So in the end is, because we're having problems between Node.js and the Go one, how both interrupt, let's go for a Node.js native version, or JavaScript, not Node.js, JavaScript native version of the parser, and maintain both Go and JavaScript, and at the same time explore the WebAssembly. So hopefully at some point we can get rid of the JavaScript one, and everything will come from the Go one, transpile using WebAssembly, all this stuff, right? And also performance is going to improve a lot as well if we use WebAssembly. But but on the long term, because I don't think I think WebAssembly is almost there, but the problem is not about WebAssembly; it's about the rest of technologies and on how they interrupt with WebAssembly, or how they work together, right? Like for instance, Go, you can generate from Go you can generate WebAssembly code, but it's on beta. It's a beta version, and there are known bugs, and it's not really stable yet. So that's why probably we should go that way. I don't know what you think. If I'm being crazy trying to create a second one or not, but I'm saying this. So when we launch version 2 in September, we really have a nice tooling set, and that works really well, even though it works really well only on certain languages, and we don't support all the languages, but at least on the ones we support, it works really nice. So yeah, that's my my bet now, learning from the mistake of thinking that generating everything from Go is gonna work smoothly, right? And so yeah, cool.
My question, maybe suggestion would be, wouldn't it be maybe made sense to wait at least for next community call with the final decision? Because if it comes to the WebAssembly in the browser, we already started the investigation today, and so far so good. So we are gonna have, we are time boxed, so we want to finish it this week. So we will already have, because we will also want to measure the performance, how the browser memory consumption looks like with WebAssembly, and also the size of the packages. So we will have, after this week, clear answer if it's a way to go or totally no go. And then unless you already want to start working the next day on the parser.
No. The things I'm actually asking you that today because I want to start asking early, right? So we can think about it, and if someone finds some gotchas that I couldn't think of, we have time to find problems and issues that we couldn't think of, right? But actually, since the review period for the spec is closing on July 1st, and then I'll have to adapt to fix the spec with all the issues that we already have from the reviews. I'm planning to start working on the tooling, like fully dedicated to tooling, on probably mid-July or late July, right? So until that time, it's fine. We have time, right? We have time to evaluate the WebAssembly one and evaluate again. For me, what I'm seeing, just in case it helps, it's not so much about transpiling to WebAssembly from Go. This is fine, and I'm sure this is gonna work fine. Or the performance, I'm sure this is gonna work fine. I think the problem is about this thing that I was telling you, like you need to have a converter from Avro to JSON schema, or an Avro parser as well, and validator, and a protobuf, you know, all this stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, this is usually have it on Go in either way. So anyway, the thing is that whatever we do, I think that the complications are going to be over there around this conversation. Not so much about performance. I think performance is going to be quite nice compared to JavaScript native. Cool. So next, let's go through some of the tasks. Is there someone here today interested in helping with some tasks? If not, just let me know. And if nobody,
Sure, I am.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
I've been studying. I've been doing a lot of Node.js over the last few months, so I think
okay.
Something there. So,
well, just so you know, it's not only about code. Okay, it's what I'm gonna show you today here is. Let me just move this bar. Is about. Can you see? I don't know if you see my.
I can see your Zen Hub.
It's AsyncAPI, right? What you see, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, this is sometimes it's.
So I'm going to be recruiting more tech writers and contributors. I'm talking at virtually to Shopify headquarters, and there's about 44 people signed up. And so I'm going to ask that group to, you know, if anyone wants to join myself and Michael in contributing. So
okay, nice. Thanks for that. So regarding documentation, there are and tutorials. There are 3 issues open for the website, which is actually adding traits to the Getting Started guide, so explaining how traits work. I'm assuming that you don't know how it works, so it will be a a good opportunity to learn how it works. Actually, I didn't know.
That's a correct assumption, yes.
Yeah, because like a few months ago, I didn't know how it worked. So I learned from Ramel how they work, and that's so that will be a good starting point, I guess. And also regarding tutorials, how to use correlation IDs. This is not so much on how to use correlation IDs, but more about coming up with an example, a real use case, or potentially real use case, right? Where you will need correlation IDs, and then you can use the spec to note that hey, this field here is a correlation ID, you know, all this stuff, demoing how and showing people how to use correlation IDs. This may be better if we can postpone it after the code supports it, right? So you could at least generate code and to see how it works. So the tutorial is full from definition to running code. But yeah, and there is one already, a tutorial on the website, and we need to review it because, well, we need to review first how it is explained, because I think we can explain it much better. We need to update it to the latest version because it's for 1.2, if I'm not mistaken. And we need to review the running our code section because I think that there was I think that there is a trick that you have to do that's not clear on the tutorial. So anyway, whoever wants to pick something, just let me know, either now or afterwards, and I'll assign it to you, and I'll help you if you need some guidance on how to fix the problem. So Feel
Well,
free.
I could take on the streetlights one, the number 2 issue, if you like.
You want to try to take this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna assign it to you. You don't AsyncAPI, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. I'm not moving it to in progress, so you start.
I'll do that when I actually start it. Yeah.
Yeah. So no pressure. Cool. Moving on. Tooling. This is the interesting one here, I guess. So this is. I think my suggestion is that if you enter AsyncAPI or GitHub, or in GitHub you cannot see it, but if you enter AsyncAPI, I think the best way is to come to the backlog list, because they are ordered by what I think is the preference. So yeah, so here is there's a bug right now happening that you can't reference local files in definitions. So if you have something, yeah, like this, if you have a ref like this, it doesn't work. We know why it doesn't work. This issue is for, I think it's for the previous version, not for version 2, but it's still happening. Actually, in the playground, I had to do a trick to avoid this this bug. Because it was breaking the playground, like literally, it was killing the process and you know and taking down the whole playground. So that was really bad. And so this one is interesting because it, you know, I think you've all seen the blog post that I wrote about how to reuse different how to structure and use different AsyncAPI files and how to share information between them. It's advocating for this, and it doesn't work. So this one it's funny, right?
But how could that work in the playground if you can only upload one file? Or do you have them separated, like with the 3 dashes? You know, in like YAML, you can join documents together by separating them with 3 dashes. You know what I'm talking about?
No, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, if we upload a spec to the playground and it's referencing a file, where does that file live, right? I mean, it's like you can upload one file to the playground, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. In the case of the playground, that would be a little bit awkward, right? Maybe, yeah, you should show the error, and that's it. Like you cannot reference a file in the playground, right? And it shouldn't be possible. But from the generator perspective, like you know, the generator package that you use in your command line, you should be able to use it. You should be able to reference local files. So yeah, actually, this is a problem with generator. Let's see here. So yeah, and most of people actually complain for the documentation, not so much about the code generation. And I suspect it's because code generation is not available in the playground yet, and that's why they don't suffer the pain with code generation yet, right? But if they try with generator, they will see that it doesn't work. So yeah, this one, anyone wants to pick this one? Like this has been around for quite a time already, from March. Yeah.
I could jump to it. You can assign me.
Okay, thanks. Oh, no.
Or you can take it if you want.
Shit, it's because I have all the faces, you know, the Zoom UI in the middle, and I can't see what I'm doing.
So just to quickly summarize, so basically in the playground, we obviously throw an error that we cannot resolve the reference, but then on locally it has to work.
Yeah, locally on your command line it has to work. Yeah, okay. Definitely. Yeah, I mean it doesn't make sense that in the playground it works because now we only allow, as Michael said, just to have one file at a time, right? So what does it mean to have a file, file whatever, or even without the file colon notation, just directly straight there, you put another file name. What does it mean? Is it going to the playground server file system? Obviously, no. We will not allow this. So.
Yeah, but also what Michael mentioned, it's like in YAML file, you can actually provide multiple YAMLs in one file, right? You just separate them with 3 dashes.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, but you can't really give them names, can you?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you can reference them or not. You can't? Because I'm not so sure.
Yeah, but I mean, that should be supported at least for now, because the specification says that the YAML, the original, let's say that what we support is JSON, it's not YAML, and YAML is only the only subset of YAML that we support is the one that's exactly the same as JSON or is transpilable to JSON, and you cannot have multiple JSON documents in a single file, right? So I think this feature from YAML should not be accepted as per spec, right? Because this file cannot be translated to JSON if you have multiple ones in a single file. You can translate to JSON, but it's going to be multiple JSONs, not just a single one. So I don't know how it's going to work, to be honest. I will keep it simple, to be honest. I will keep it simple and not complicate things for now, and then we can work on the edge cases.
Okay, because for YAML, I guess you could solve it by the referencing, right? Before you go into JSON, that's an option.
Yeah, but if you paste YAML, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So one thing you can do on the generator is to do that, is to actually before you convert to JSON, as you said, you dereference everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if some of these chunks on the file is not used and they're still there, they remain there? So there are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine one of these chunks, one of these multiple files are not used, they will remain there in the resulting file. So I don't know. I'll keep it simple, to be honest.
Okay.
So, and if someone complains about it, fine, welcome. But let's not worry about it, because this is a generator problem. It's not a playground problem, right? I think it will be better to improve the playground to support having, I don't know, projects, something like projects, and you can have multiple files, and then you can reference it as if they were local files. I think it's going to be better. Cool. So this one is funny too. On the Node.js version of the parser Node.js, this is the repo, okay? When you pass an empty string, it literally panics. So the Go parser panics, and you basically go out of memory, and the process crashes. So yeah, really, I mean, this is this is a really stupid one. So we can either defend against the empty string, or we can try to find what's doing that on the what's triggering this on the Go parser and try to fix it on the Go parser, and I think it will be easier, right? So again, if anyone wants to take it, I'm happy to assign. If not, we move on. Don't feel pressure because we're doing this now. Okay, I just want you to know what's on the table. Okay, so in case you want to jump at some point, you know what to eat.
Can you paste the link to ZenHub board somewhere in the I don't know, general channel or somewhere?
Yeah.
So it's
yes.
Because I guess you have 3 boards, right? Separate for documentation, separate for tooling, or
and spec. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you can do it later.
I'm gonna be pasting this one here. So Emmelyn, you said okay. So Emmelyn, yes, the example of the street light. Don't be shy. Don't be shy to ask silly questions. We all do. So the example of the street light that I was mentioning before here is for version, but this one is for version 1.2, and we should update it to version 2, and also fixing the running our code section and all this stuff. But Michael decided to take it, so I'm not sure. Is it what you're asking?
Yeah, I just we can take it offline. I was just wondering because there's obviously the one that was originally there, and I was just curious because it'll work differently for version 2. So
yeah, it will work differently. Yeah, and actually we should have probably for the running our code section, we should have the tooling ready as well for version 2. But yeah.
And then on the website, you'll be able to pick which version that you're looking at. Like I know on the spec now, you have that nice line at the top where you say, you pick the version of the spec you want to read. So would it be similar to that for the tutorials?
No, I think that the idea is to get rid of version 1 documentation and tutorials, and because otherwise we will have to maintain compatibility, backward compatibility, and I don't want to do this now because honestly, version 1 hasn't been really heavily used. Version 1 has been really great for people to understand or to get into AsyncAPI and understand what it is, but it hasn't been widely used in production yet, so let's forget about it. Let's take
I thought Slack was using it in production in a couple, so I guess you're helping them migrate to version 2.
There's actually, if you paste it on the playground, it will auto translate to version 2.
Nice. Okay, thank you.
So,
by the way, we're using it on production as well.
Huh?
We're using the first version of the spec on the production as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think you are the only ones maybe that I know of using version 1 on production. But I mean, we are working on that on version 2. So after that, we can forget about version 1, right? Cool.
So I should just focus on version 2 for this task.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's going to be version 2 from now on, and let's get rid of version 1. Otherwise, we're overcomplicating. And if we have to support everything for different versions, it's going to be a pain. We will have more versions coming after version 2. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure that in the next months after the launch, we will have like 2.1 or something like this, or 2.01, and we will have to support all of them. Cool. So specification, is anyone interested in working on the spec? Like someone of you really like specs and all this stuff? Or working on, not on code, but working on, on spec? No?
I would like to. I mean, I'm interested in, for example, something like user journey, the experience of using the spec, but I think I'm not the best person, but I'm open to learning.
Yeah, but this one, actually, it's here because I didn't know where to place it. But it's actually more about the website, right? Like the message on the website was not clear. Get started doesn't get you started, right? This is already solved.
Okay. Can you assign that to me?
Yeah, if you can review this, that would be amazing.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I don't know. Am I doing it? Yes. Cool. So I think.
Yeah, I would like to help with the spec, though, as well.
Okay. So I think I'm going to be working on the next weeks until July 1st or mid-July. I'm going to be working on all these V.2 V2.0 reviews, because I think that's after fixing all these issues that we found, that will be the final version 2. We will have the final version 2. I'll for sure. I'm gonna share this with you before we mark it as final version 2. So because working on these issues might create other issues, right? So yeah. But this time, instead of opening it to the public, like, hey, let's do a review process, I'll work with all of you who's interested and try to validate that the shape of the spec is still nice, and we can just forget about the spec for some months and just work on the tooling, on the fun part actually of seeing things working. And yeah, this is what I'm gonna be doing on the taking all of this. Cool, folks. On the tooling, I've been going through these ones. The tooling actually is in a good shape in the sense that we don't have matched yet. So we don't have many bugs. And what we are lacking is actually features. The problem is not with bugs. And code generators, which I know Jonathan was interested in working with Java, Spring Cloud streams or something like this. I'm not a Java guy. So, and the Python generators and Go generators and all this stuff. But again, if anyone's interested in contributing and taking some of these tasks, some of these issues, they are not just on AsyncAPI. What you see here is on GitHub. This is just a nice display, but all of them are in GitHub. Okay, so if you want to work on something, just assign it to you and leave a comment so we all know that you're working on that, and that's it. I mean, I'll appreciate a lot. Any question or anything you want to tell me or tell us or share? No. Not even how cute I am or something.
So you're going to be in San Francisco.
Insane me, yes. I'm always doing the same joke. Bad joke. Same me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so yeah, I'm gonna be in San Francisco for next month. I think it's 16, 17 of July. Speaking at API Days. What a surprise, right? and yeah, I'll be presenting AsyncAPI plus Flogo, typical Flogo. That Scott and Andrew have been working on the last months, and you should all see it. It's really nice. It's a really nice project. I mean, if you want to share what is it about, it's your time.
You're giving me too much credit, Fran. I think it's Andrew's thing.
It's Andrew's thing. Okay.
Yeah, and Andrew, you have a really great group of Go women. Maybe they can contribute here too.
And in other places as well.
Yeah, it's just a code generator. It generates Flogo definitions from AsyncAPI. And if you don't know what Flogo is just it's a domain-specific language for describing programs that are routing HTTP traffic or MQTT traffic, etc.
Nice. Yeah, and regarding what Emmelyn said, it just came to my mind that so I really feel bad sometimes about how bad we're doing at women in tech, right? And I mean, look at the group, right? It's just Emmelyn with all of us here, right? And Łukasz is hiding. So, I'd like to improve that as well. So if we could invite more people, women, and from and more diverse people, that would be amazing. And also, I would like to make a call from API Days, since they are working on improving their programs, so they have more underrepresented groups. I was trying to find a word, like women in tech and and other underrepresented groups. And so if you can tell someone to apply or to submit a talk for API Days San Francisco, Barcelona, I'm going to be part of the organization of API Days Barcelona. So if you can, try to help someone to submit a talk, it will be greatly appreciated. Not just AsyncAPI stuff, but API Days or any other groups. And also from my side, I'm going to be trying this. So Emmelyn said that Emmelyn said that you're running a Go group or something.
No, I'm not running any Go group. The women who write Go, none of them are on my team directly. There are a few. One is working on the Mashry local product on a separate team. I don't know if she would be interested in presenting. She's going to be pretty busy. We have to get the Mashry local stuff out the door. There's a lot of customers that want it, so I don't know if she would want to talk about anything.
Yeah, and I was going to mention there's a whole list that's women in API, and I might ask if any of them will come join this community. They'll be highlighted on the API Days media site, and then if anyone is going to API Days Paris, there's going to be a lot more speaking there than, for example, in Switzerland.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, and on the other side is count on me if I can do something, if I can help with something as well. So yeah, nothing else.
One last thing. One last thing I can mention is that every year we have this developers conference at Solus. It's just internal to Solus. And async API came up a lot. It was discussed in 3 different talks during the day, including one I gave. So it's got high visibility now in our company, and
Nice.
you know, we're very excited about it and plan to use it a lot. So just to
Nice.
let you know, it was high visibility last week at our conference. So
Nice. This is really cool. I mean, you don't know how happy I am to hear these things, because people don't usually tell me these things.
right. Okay.
Hey, we're just using it and we love it. That's it. Right? Because yeah, it can feel very lonely on the other side. Like, hey, nobody's using AsyncAPI. Nobody likes it. I only hear complaints, right, all the time when people have problems. So yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that, Michael. So I think we're done, right? Right on time. Especially, let me stop recording.